How much money did you make last year in 2022?
125,000?
How much money did you make last month?
15,000.
$15,000. If you can build this business, do you think anybody can build this business?
Oh, 100%. This business has been such a game changer in my life.
Another episode of On the Road with signing agent Laura out in California. I am so excited. I mean, look, I'm gonna start right out of the gate here. How much money did you make last year in 2022?
125,000?
Oh my God, you're smiling ear to ear on that. That was in 2022 and everyone said, oh, it's slow. We're now in 2023. Interest rates are literally 7.5%. How much money did you make last month?
15,000.
$15,000. I want everyone to hear that. So we're going to start from there and move backwards because, girl, your story is super inspiring. Now, I want to be very transparent. 9 out of 10 of these interviews are from students that I've had from day one. I was not Laura's coach from day one. I think this is a beautiful part about her story. She's been a signing agent. I'm looking at my notes since 2012. She actually did not become Loan Signing System, part of Loan Signing System Nation until 2022. 2021, how much money did you make in the height of COVID?
240.
$240,000. And then she decided to get a coach, which was me. And so I think there's a lot of amazingness just in that, is that successful people realize they're not the most successful person in the room and they're okay with getting more help. So I think your story is crazy, awesome for many different reasons. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey, by the way, Laura, because like I said, I mean, the fact that you were in 6 figures before you met me and the fact that you said, hey, I can learn something from Mark, humbles me. Thank you. So I appreciate you very, very much. But let's dive in your story, man. 2012, take us all the way back to 2012. What made you take the scary leap into entrepreneurship, start being a signing agent? Walk us through that so people can relate to your journey.
So fresh out of a divorce, 2 little kids at home, mouths to feed. It was, I don't know if anybody remembers 2012, but we were in a recession and it was pretty ugly. And actually, I didn't tell you this, I had to short sell my house. And so there was no money.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed an income because times were really tough. There wasn't a paycheck to live paycheck to paycheck. If I said I had $2 in my bank account, I literally had $2 and I had 2 kids to feed. So I had to figure it out. And, I was reminiscing on this story about my son asking for a toy. And because, we live in a very affluent area. I live in Danville, California, and it's richy rich around here. And to be down and out the way we were was, embarrassing and stressful. And especially when you want to make your kid happy and get him the shiny, bright new toy. And I literally looked at him and I said, that's all great that you want that, but, I need you to see where we get our food from. And I put both the kids in the car and drove down to the church because that's where the food bank did their distributions for the food bank. And, it was eye-opening for him. And it was sad that I had to be that frank with my child, but it's kind of what I needed to do so that I didn't feel so sad that I wasn't giving him a toy. It was a tough time.
I mean, thank you for that vulnerable story. It's, I find myself getting a little bit emotional with that. I mean, it just shows the power of a mother, right? You do what you got to do to feed the family. And now 10 short years later, you have a 6-figure annual business. I mean, how does that make you feel when you really think about where you were 10 years ago and where you are 10 years later? What are your thoughts?
I'm pretty proud of myself. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty proud of myself. And I still have kids that are remember the lean years. And so, especially my son, and he's very kind before he asks me for money now.
I think you said something that I don't think enough people say, and I was proud of myself. It's a beautiful thing when you can realize that, like, I'm here because of the work I've put in. I'm here because I persevered. I'm here because I didn't give up. And sharing stories like yours just shows the rest of the communities, like, if you don't give up, there's greatness on the other side. And I mean, it took you 10 years to get here, but it was worth every moment, right? And I always tell you students on these calls, it's like, it is those lean years that, in my opinion, make you ready to be an entrepreneur. Like when those lean years creates resilience, which you have to have as an entrepreneur, right? When you creates the toughness that it takes to, hear the word no, to work those long days. It creates that work ethic, right? And so, yeah, I think that was a beautiful statement you said it so just nonchalantly, but no, everyone should say I'm proud of myself. So I'm proud of you. I know I've only been on your journey for about a year and a half, 2 years, but I mean, every single time I get inspired because I had no idea this is your story. So let's take people back, taking your kid to the church. So was that the moment you're like, I got to do something different?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Really wanted to be able to provide for my family. And, when you're not sure where the next meal is coming from and you're having, secret Santas come over and bring gifts to your kids, it's sad. It's embarrassing. You want to be able to be Santa for your kids and not have somebody realize that you really are not extra. Like they always say around here in Danville, is like, I've never been bougie. And so it's just, I just needed to get out there and do something better for myself and for my family.
I love it. What, if you don't mind me asking, what made you, because you could have played, I don't know if the appropriate word is like played victim to your scenario, but you didn't, right? Like what made you just keep pushing and pushing and not, because no one would have blamed you. 2012 was rough for the entire nation. You're also coming out of a divorce. You're also having two mouths to feed. So it would have been really easy to fold, but you didn't. You said, I got to do more. Where did that come from? Why did you do that versus, staying in the dark place?
Well, I was taught good work ethics as a child. I was taught to work hard, and always in that dream of, pay somebody else to do the things that you don't want to do. But here I was the one having to be paid to do stuff that I didn't necessarily want to do. And, in 2012, when I became a loan signing agent, and I was working for signing services, and it was a little bit busy at that time. It was, there were all those HARP loans, and I did a lot of Wells Fargo refis, and it was a really great learning experience, and I got really excited about it because there was money to be made in this business. Even though I was only making at that time $70 a signing, I was still like, woohoo, I'm making money
Yeah.
right now.
Let's talk about that real quick because I think life is about perspective, right? You're making $70 a signing. Why didn't you turn those down? And I say that because you see people in our community saying, oh, it's only $75 signing, but it's like you took your reps early. And so I want to inspire people. If you take your reps and you keep going, you can become you, but you weren't this after 3 years, right? You're looking at your business. It took about 6, 7 years for your business really to take off. And so I just want to inspire people through like, what was the idea of like taking $7 signings with a smile on your face?
Well, I didn't have to market myself.
Right.
They went out and they found the escrow officers. They found the business. All I had to do is sit on the couch and wait for my phone to ring. And I'd just be like, hey, Lisa, I'm available.
Yeah.
And then I would hear back. And that was like it was like the least amount of effort for the work.
Yeah, no, I love it. I hope everybody heard that. It's like really put in perspective. Like I'm just answering a text message because you see people in the community. I know you do. It's like $70, but like you didn't do any marketing for that $70 appointment. And so I love that. So let's walk people through 2012 to I'm looking at my notes over here. 2012 to 2014, you're in the business. You took a hiatus a little bit. Talk about that hiatus. Talk about why you took the hiatus and kind of the feelings and the idea back. And then we'll get kind of 2018 in a moment.
Okay. So, after all the, I think it was Obama that had put all those HARP loans and things were slowing down in the industry. Cause you always, hear it now when you're on your Facebook and about how things were slowing down. And I got scared because I was like, well, if my phone's not going to ring, like, what am I going to do? And, I need income. I need to know that I can pay my rent, and I got to, pay for these kids' food and school activities. And so, I regret this now, but, looking back, but somebody had a job that was a guaranteed number every week,
Mhm.
and I didn't have to be like, oh, because at the time I was like, okay, if I can get 3 signings a day, I need, 15 signings a week to make my budget. I was really like, I had it down to brass numbers, like what is the minimum I can do? And I'm going to go for those numbers. And then when somebody came with a job offer that beat those numbers at the time, I was like, oh, maybe I ought to do that because I'm not even getting 3 a day right now.
Do you
And
think part of the reason that you kind of packed it in 2014 was kind of a lack of self-belief that you could sustain this business, a belief in yourself? Like, talk about that if that's part of the case.
well, yes, because I didn't believe in myself to go and do the marketing. I had really low
Mhm.
self-esteem coming out of my divorce.
Mm,
And so it was really hard for me to sell myself because,
mm.
I wasn't confident with how I was doing my signings. I didn't have a whole lot of training. My training at that time was basically a girlfriend on a phone telling me how to do the main documents of a signing.
Mhm.
So I didn't feel confident. I didn't know the documents really well. Like Mark, your training, you go a fine tooth comb through the package. I didn't feel like I knew what I was really doing. So I
Mhm.
didn't feel like I could walk into
Oh,
an
yeah.
escrow officer and
Yeah.
say, hey,
Yeah.
I'm the best. Like I feel that way now, but like there was no way I was going to say I was the best notary. I didn't feel, I'd make mistakes. I'd have to go back and fix them, so there's that extra time that you got to take that you're not getting paid for because you're just trying to get paid on the
Yeah.
job to begin with.
So, you said something that was, you said you had low self-esteem coming out of the divorce. And I can imagine, I've never been divorced, but I've been broken up with. And so I can imagine that transition. And so I appreciate you again getting vulnerable through that, because now, I see an uber confident businesswoman. And you talk to Laura now, and it's like Laura can move mountains. And so, I just want to show the growth that I think this business can have for people. I mean, do you attribute some of the growth personally and the confidence you have now from being an entrepreneur, from being a signing agent? Talk about that.
So in 2018, I made the decision to go do this full time. And, and at that time, I was basically starting over. I hadn't done signings for at least a year, maybe 2. And so I was starting over. I was calling my signing services and, back to making only $80 a signing. And I just thought, if I just work really hard, I can make more than I was making in my day job. And so I was, making all the phone calls and I literally, the way I treat my escrow officers now, where I call them, weekly, daily, whatever, I was doing that with the signing services. I was just really putting the effort in to so that I could make the money, because again, I at that time I wasn't trying to be a 6-figure signing agent.
Mhm.
I was just trying to pay bills.
Yeah.
I wasn't even trying to save for my retirement. I was
Yeah.
just like, I literally had a beater car that I paid $1,000 for that had like 76,000 miles on it. And in 2 years, I put 76,000 miles on it. I ran it into the ground, but it helped start my business. And I cut all of my expenses way back so that if I only could do 3 signings in a day, that was okay. Like
Mhm.
I knew that I could do that. And I knew that end of month was going to carry me for the next month.
Yeah, I mean, again, the picture I'm seeing is, you know, someone who went from low self-esteem to someone who has a major high self-esteem, and what a beautiful journey this has been the past 10 years for you. I ask you, if you can build this business, do you think anybody can build this business?
Oh, 100%. But you got to want it. You got to
Go
really
more.
want it.
Go more.
Yeah,
Keep going on that.
yeah, I mean, this doesn't happen by accident. Like I hustle every day. Like today, I didn't make a lot of money. I was, I'm scared just like the next person is. Like I every day am trying to figure out how to get my name out there, whether it's social media or calling my escrow officers and making sure I answer every phone call that comes through because I don't know who's on the other end of that phone. And it's just it's hard work to make this amount of money, but it's worth it. It's
Got
really worth it.
Well, you say if you want it, you can make this business happen. When you say that, is it really kind of I'm not going back. Like, I'm not going back to who I was 10 years ago. I'm not going back to that person. Is that part of what keeps you at this such a high level?
Absolutely. I'm at a point now where the idea of working in an office grosses me out. Like I couldn't. And my boyfriend calls me a feral cat because people have offered me jobs since COVID, and I'm like, no, no, I can't do it. I'm
No.
feral.
That is so funny. I love it. So let's keep walking people through. 2018, you get back in the business, and then COVID hits, right? COVID's an anomaly. And then, you have everybody in the business had their banner years, 2020, 2021.
The fun thing about COVID is I was still working for agencies and I was still scared and really busy that I didn't try to go after direct business. And I had people want me to do direct. And that was really actually exciting for me, but I actually didn't understand the value of going
Mhm.
direct. And so I'd be like, oh, well, I'll fill out that paperwork later. I got
Yeah.
all these signings to do. I didn't recognize the fact that if I was working direct, I could work less hard.
And you can make twice as much money working less hard. And that's why.
I had no idea the value in it. I was just like, I have all these signing companies that call me and I can do all these signings in a day. Like I didn't understand that working direct was really important.
Yeah, no. And so,
Good.
yeah, no, let's kind of transition to your income journey because I think this is, again, thank you for being so vulnerable. I think that really letting some, single moms watching this right now, she's not alone if she currently has low self-esteem, and she's not alone if, she's going to the church to get food. And if you want it bad enough, like you said, you can make it happen. Let me just kind of ask a quick question here. If there's a single mom right now who feels low self-esteem, who feels like you did, what would you tell her to continue to push through and to make it happen on the other side?
This business has been such a game changer in my life. It's really life altering. And I would tell her to stay the course,
Mm.
take all the classes, get the knowledge, find a mentor. I've right now mentoring a couple of different gals that text me when they're like looking for something new to help them with. And yesterday coaching somebody on which printer to get.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid. I
Mm.
mean, I know that's hard to think. I'm pushed through the fear. When my daughter was a cheerleader, and one of the cheer gyms said faith over fear. And so that's what I always tell myself is believe in myself more than I feel fear.
Mhm.
Okay, because it is scary walking in and introducing yourself. It's scary walking into your very first signing. I mean, I'll never forget my very first signing. I was shaking. I was quaking
Yeah.
in my boots because um I didn't know what I was doing and I wanted to do it right. I didn't want to make any mistakes. And I hear so many people say that same thing, like I just want to do it perfect. And it's like, just own your truth, take responsibility. If you make a mistake, it's okay. You're human and people understand that. um but just keep going
Mm.
because once you get started and you get rolling and you have some consistent business, I mean, the confidence will come just
Yeah.
because you're going to start realizing that you can do this. People overthink like
Yeah.
the documents, and I just say don't overthink it, and just get out there and make the connections with the signing services. That's
Yeah.
how
I
I
mean,
started. I did that a long time.
what I think is really cool about your journey, I'm looking at the timeline. You were in the business from 2012 to little hiatus, and you really didn't take off until 2020. I mean, that was like 8 years in the business. And so I think there's inspiration in that. I think a lot of people see you right now at 123,000. They don't see the previous 7 years before your business took off. And that's why I like telling these stories. It's like, yes, she makes six figures, but she put in the work, right? And like you said, if you just stay the course, put in your own work, you'll get exactly where you are. And I love that. So let's talk about your income journey. People who watch this series know that I usually start from kind of zero and tell the story, but I kind of want to start in 2021 with you, right? 2021, you have your banner year, $240,000. That's insane. Interest rates almost immediately spike up to 6. That's when you chose to get a coach. You chose to
Yes.
learn. I want to talk
Mhm.
about the mentality. So 2021, you're crushing it. How come you didn't panic when rates got to 6.5%? What made you buckle down and just kind of get back to work? Talk about that mentality. And before you answer that, as you formulate your thought, is we have a lot of students who 6% rates, all of a sudden the world falls apart. They're out of the business when like you did 123 grand last year in that 2022 year. So talk through that mentality of like, I'm at 240, rates go to 6%. Talk about your mentality.
So, I really kind of looked at, I needed to get back to basics, right? I mean, when I went back to doing this full time in 2018, I wasn't making 240. I wasn't making 120. I was, significantly less than that. And I thought, I just need to buckle down. I need to get back to basics. What you do, you market. You have to really increase your marketing. You've got to get out there because, and quite frankly, now I have time to market, which I didn't back in the COVID years. Work came to me and I just was like a little horse, just okay, gallop, gallop, gallop. And so, I looked at 2022, knowing that we were going to go into a recession. And I thought, all right, what do I need to do different? How do I market myself? I had some things in place, but I just knew that I needed to step up my game.
No, I hope everybody heard that, because that's what successful people do. They don't run, they buckle down. And you use that phrase. I wrote it down a couple of times. You buckled down in 2022 and 2021 at the end of it. And so talk through the mentality of like coming into the LSS Nation, like, because I think it's so beautiful, your mindset. You could have easily been like, what can Mark teach me? Instead, you had a, what can I learn? And that little simple rephrase. Go, you want to say something? Go.
Yeah, well, because I was skeptical at first. Don't get me wrong. I'm like, who is this guy? And you have a lot of energy, but I wasn't sure. And I went to my first meetup. Here in Danville, and I saw 100 people fill the room. And there was a cross section of newbies and experienced people. And I sat on the sidelines and just kind of watched everything bounce around the room. And I talked to our previous ambassador a little bit, and I'm like, all right, what do you think about this? And she was like, oh, his program's really great. You'll really love it. And I got kind of inspired just listening to people. Like, I joined the Facebook groups and saw how people talked about the program and what they were learning. And then, of course, the excitement of conference, which was, it was contagious. And I thought, well, I gotta go see what that's about. And all along the way, all the way leading up to conference, I was getting these nuggets from all of the Facebook groups that were all involved in the app for the conference. Just seeing all the people just integrated together, because the LSS Nation, it really is a nation. Like, it's a coming together of people, and it's a family where previously I was out there on my own. I was like a lone fish. I had a couple of friends that were notaries. And when I came into the LSS family, literally I gained a family of like thousands of people that are supporting my business. And, we share thoughts and we encourage each other. And I just think, that piece right there was gold, right? Because I'm not alone, and I can, back in my office days, you get into a conference room and you have synergy. Right. But when you're alone as a notary, you don't have anybody to have synergy with. So now, like, I have people that I met at conference and people who I've met online where I'm talking to them every day. Like, we're bouncing off ideas. If I'm not sure about something, like I have an apostille that I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have somebody I can call that'd be like, hey, you got this. Yeah. Try this, and so that's, I love it. Having the team. Right. We're a team. And that's what actually has also helped me have more confidence, because I'm surrounded by smart, educated, people know this business really well. And I'm competitive in nature. So it makes me want to rise even higher, because I'm watching my colleagues and I'm like, I can do that. I can do that.
Oh, I love it. And I think, and what I love is that last piece right there is being inspired by others, not being discouraged, right? We have NorCal Chanel Hernandez, $300,000, $350,000 a year. You get inspired by that versus discouraged. And again, I'm just trying to show the mindset here of a successful signing agent or just a successful entrepreneur in general. You know, right now as we speak, as we're recording this, it's September 2023, and interest rates are 7.5%. And you did $15,000 last month. How come you're at a point in your career where it's not relative to interest rates dictates how much business you get? Talk through that, because I think a lot of signing agents think it's the interest rate that determines how much business you get versus your effort. Talk through that. Because I mean, $15,000 last month, 7.5%, you're living the dream literally, but you're working your tail off, like you said. So talk about this mindset of like, it's not the interest rate that determine how much business I get.
I look at it as I have, a number of people that give me work, and everybody is slower, so if I go out and keep pounding the pavement and talking to more and more escrow officers, if everybody gave me 3 signings, then I'm going to make the money that I want to make. And I send out a Monday email. I actually do it Sunday night because that's when I have time, because Sundays are slower, wind down.
I hope everybody heard that. I think you just dropped so much fire. You don't realize you're dropping fire. Is, your mentality was like, look, if it's slowing down across the board, I guess got to dig wider. I got to get more clients to give me less appointments. I'm making these numbers up. If I had 5 escrow officers give me 5 signings a month, well, I now need to get 10 to give me 2 to equal the same. And it's just this idea of like, I got to dig wider. And again, I hope everybody heard that. Any successful signing agent can play the role like, oh, it's interest rates that dictate how much business I get. Yes, obviously interest rates dictate the flow of business, but that doesn't mean you can't go wider. That doesn't mean that you can't go a little bit bigger in a circumference of title companies around your house. If our one source of revenue is lowering, I'm going to get 4 more to make up for that lower source of revenue. And I hope everybody heard that, because it's nothing about, even if interest rates go to 8%, it's like, okay, I got to get 2 more people to give me 2 signings. Like, the math is simple. And you said it so nonchalantly that like I needed to stop and point that out. It doesn't matter what interest rates are. The good signing agents will find the business. The good signing agents will do the work. The good signing agents will market their tail off.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what I'm doing, is I'm widening my net, and to get more, because I think, oh, I did an in-office signing for somebody in a different, she sent her client to an office, and I thought that, well, now I'm in that office, I'm going to market to all of them, and that's what I do. One of the things that I've been trying to tell people when I talk to them is being a notary is not a secret. So you don't want to be like, oh yeah, I'm a notary. No, you want to jump from the hilltop and say, I'm a notary. I can be your notary. And I don't care if that's a signing service. I don't care if that's an escrow officer. I don't care if that's some of your friends on Facebook. Most of my clients are Facebook friends. Like, I get so much business from just, I pivot a lot. That's part of what we do in this business to keep rolling. So you add services and you look for other ways to make money. And so I've been, trying to get like young adult POAs, and I'm go and talk to all of my friends, my daughter's parents, the friends of her parents or whatever. And you always got to be one step ahead, right? I mean, we've got all these interest rates going up. So you don't have to focus on just loans. Loans are great. Everybody's always, there's people still buying and selling homes. So that work is still coming. That's not going away. But we have, as notaries, we have lots of other opportunities.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite moments, I'm a notary. Like, you got to stop whispering and start screaming from the hilltops. And that really comes from every six-figure signing agent cut from the same cloth. The more people who know you're notary, the more money you make. And to your point, the best part being about notary is there's multiple ways to make money as a notary. And so the louder you scream it, the more revenue opportunities you get. And that's what people need to hear, is it's really this business. Rates, are they relative? Yes. But there will always be enough business in America to make 6 figures if you want to go out and do the marketing. So thank you, Laura, for allowing me to be part of your journey. And I get very humbled by the signing agents who are successful on their own right, and they still are like, Mark, I want to be part of the family. And so thank you, because those are the people I want to be around, right? I have masterminds. I join masterminds. I travel. I'm going to one in 2 weeks. And so it's constantly just trying to be around people smarter than you. And so, and the people have that same mentality I just love. So let's talk about the one piece of advice. So this is part of the conversation where I'm asking you, six-figure signing agent Laura, what's one piece of advice that you could give a signing agent to help grow their business? What would that be?
Continue to make the contacts and network, make the phone calls, do the weekly emails to your signing services, your escrow officers. You know, one of the things that I have found, which has helped my success, is sometimes it's all about being in the right place at the right time and being the squeaky wheel. And you know, to like even today, I was doing an apostille and I overheard somebody say that get turned down at the apostle desk because their stuff wasn't notarized, and they said, "Oh, where's the closest place I can get a notary?" And I popped up and I said, "I'm a notary. Oh, right here, oh, right here." And
I don't
did a
think it's
nice
I don't think it's by accident, by the way, right? Not to get all like whimsical about being in the right place at the right time, but what I would say is, it's funny how the more you network, the more you're in the right place at the right time. It's funny how the harder you work, the more you're in the right place at the right time. The more you tell people, it's like you're creating your own luck.
So when I go to a signing and I'm closing on a home and I see that they are not in a trust, I always am talking to them about the next step in their journey. Like, okay, once you get settled, you know, if you're considering protecting your assets, you know, you might want to consider finding an estate attorney, and I can notarize those documents for you. And, you know, and I have a referral base if they need one. A lot of times people have somebody that they already are looking at, but I always just say, I'm always thinking of the next step. I'm like the banker who's like, okay, I opened all of your accounts. Now you need a credit card.
So
Well,
good.
I'm asking for their next
Yeah.
signing.
No, and again, that's so good. I mean, I've done a lot of these interviews, and that might be one of the most fire nuggets. You know, it's really not soliciting because you're not the estate planner, but it's saying like, hey, like putting a bug in their ear, like the next step. If you choose to do a trust, like you have a notary, and it's just really, you say that to enough people, you're going to get enough phone calls for that estate planning, but it's really being intentional with your conversation. Like you said, stop whispering. Being a notary is not a secret, but no one can give you business if they don't know you're a notary. And so you really take that to heart. And I hope everyone else hears this. Like she's trying to get the next thing after the home closing. Like it's like, look, the home closed, but hey, if you're going to get an estate plan done, I want to be your girl. And if you do that enough times, now you're going to get, maybe if you do that 1 out of 20 times, you get one estate planning. Now you're in with an attorney. Some people see signing agents like you and think it's luck, and it's not. It's far from it. You're creating your luck by being omnipresent, always talking about, screaming from the rooftops, not whispering. I mean, I hope everyone's hearing this. This has been such a great interview because it really is pulling back the curtain on the mindset of a successful signing agent. And the truth is, like, you are not shy about telling people you're a notary, and nor should anybody else.
My boyfriend laughs at me because he's like, could you stop putting notary in every conversation?
Oh my gosh. But
Yeah.
that's the key to your success. I would argue that most successful signing agent notary, just like you, is just this constant. People can't know you're open for business if you don't tell them you're open for business. And when that clicks, it's over. It clicked for Laura years ago. And now it's just taking to the umph level. So proud of you in this business you've built, man. Let's go in the last question of the conversation. You know, I ask successful signing agents, you know, helping a newer signing agent, right? Is if you can look back at your journey, you know, and if you could do your journey over again, is there something you would do different? Is there something you regret? Substitute any word you want to help a notary be like, man, don't make the same mistake as me because I didn't accelerate as quick. What would that be for your personal journey? Anything you regret, anything you wish you would have done a little bit different?
Yeah, there's a couple things. So I think that, you know, I ran scared and went and took a desk job when things got slow, you know, and I regretted that because I kind of hit that glass ceiling and I couldn't make the kind of money that I can make being a notary. And, you know, yeah, I had a guaranteed salary, but there wasn't enough potential, where this business has a lot of potential to be what you want it to be. Whether what's important to you is flexible and not have to work a lot of hours so you can spend time with your friends and family, or travel. I mean, I do a lot of travel, and that's one of the things that I love of why I came back to this business.
What I really heard is someone who wished they would have believed themselves just a little bit more. Like I
Absolutely.
could have, if I would have just stuck with it, instead of taking 7 years for my business to explode, maybe I would have exploded in my 5th year. And so, I just want to make sure everybody heard that, 'cause I think some people just don't believe. They hear the voice of self-doubt, like, oh, you need the guaranteed paycheck. I mean, you're a hard worker. And so even to know that the hard worker had that, I think is very vulnerable to say. So thank you for that is what I want to say. And so if anybody's out there who's just kind of doubted themselves, like business is a little bit slow, what would you tell them?
Yeah, I would just say keep at it. Don't give up. Just and just continue to do the things with the signing services, like make the phone calls, but not just that. And this is the other where we go into my second regret
Yep.
is I didn't understand the value of working direct. Okay,
Mm,
I was lazy, right? I was just like, I'm just gonna wait for the signing services to call. They've already done the marketing. I don't need to do any marketing. They've already done it. I'll make the $85 for the signing while, let them do the hard, heavy lifting. And, when I was asked by a couple of people during COVID to go direct and they gave me the packages, I didn't do it quick enough because I didn't understand that, like, if I just slowed down my business for 3 hours to fill out the application and get the approval, I would double my income. Like
yeah,
I couldn't conceptualize how
yeah,
important that was. And now looking back and I go, huh,
mm,
what was I thinking? Like that
yeah.
was like the stupidest thing I could have done.
You know what's
And
funny I don't think it was stupid. I actually think you're so used to be a hard worker that slowing down and trying to work smarter just wasn't necessarily the first instinct. And so but I think this is a good calm or place to stop, because I think a lot of people think working harder means more money when actually working smarter does. And I think that's when you realize is like, it wasn't necessarily stupid. All you knew was to go, 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 go. And you just wish you would have had a kind of a stop, look, and listen, as they say in corporate America, a little earlier stop, look, and listen at your place in your business. And like, oh, wow, if I kind of divert my energy, I can actually make more and work less. And so I hope everyone hears that, because I think going direct actually should be looked at as being more efficient, where I think people see it as actually as adding work. Because now I got to go market. Now I got to go do this, when they're not realizing that a little bit of legwork can pay off exponentially down the road.
I overcome objections when I know that somebody uses a signing service. I say, you continue to use them, but when you've got your VIP client that needs the white glove and red carpet, try me. Let me be your girl. You can use the signing service for the rest of them, but when just to get that one, right?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
one extra signing a month.
Yeah.
That's all I want,
I hope
and
everyone heard that. She's gave you how she overcomes the objection, how we use a signing service. So dropping fire, Laura. Yeah, I mean, again, I think going direct is where the freedom's at. When I say freedom, taking time off, because working for a signing service, you turn on and off, but like really the freedom is with direct business. You can actually kind of make your own schedule going direct, right? That your client gives you this, like, oh, I'm gonna squeeze it in at 5 versus the SS tells you what time it is. So I think there's a lot of benefit, and I love how one of your biggest regrets was not going direct sooner. So I appreciate that. Well, Laura, girl, I am proud of you. Again, like I said, I am honored to be part of your journey. You are wise signing agent. The fact you've allowed me to be part of it, thank you. You've trusted me, thank you. Thank you for helping the other community members with your knowledge, and thank you for jumping on here and sharing your story, man. And it's she's like, Mark, I haven't seen one of these yet. I'm like, oh girl, you got to watch these because they are super inspiring. But not this many nuggets are dropped in all these, and you dropped a lot of nuggets today. So thank you for that. Any final words for someone who may just be doubting themselves, someone who's watching this on YouTube right now, who's just like, man, should I make the decision? Should I bet on myself? Maybe it's a single mom, maybe it's not. Any words to that person who just might be kind of doubting themselves right now?
I'd say rip off the Band-Aid and do it. You won't look back. I mean, it's an amazing business. You know, Mark, you became my coach in 2022, and some of the things that you have taught, whether it was bringing people on stage at conference or just you personally with some of your videos that I've seen, it's allowed me to help level up my business in a time where I should be running scared and going back to a day job. And I'm now at a point where I'd be scared to go and just sit in an office. I mean, I used to seeing the sunny sky every day, and I drive my, I got in trouble with my insurance agent. I drive 45,000 miles a year.
Oh man, it's just been an honor to get to know you right now. I know I've seen you at conference for years, but rarely do we talk for an hour and a half. But you inspired me, man. Honestly, thank you. And don't ever stop learning. Don't ever stop growing. And I can't wait until you're the next big signing service owner of Loan Signing System. So until next time, Lord, appreciate you, girl. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.